stuff.
So that exhaust fan is
It's an
heat
automatic.
sensitive or,
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yes,
Wouldn't
it
either.
is. Yeah.
And that's really the first I heard about running like that.
Yes,
Otherwise you
and
use
that
it.
way from day
Oh,
one.
And if the pilots are staying on all the time for those stoves, is that necessary? Because if we're gonna go over there and open the building up for an event, we can always light.
If you know when the
can light
building,
us in.
you know when the building's rented out, those pilot lights could be lit if they're
Exactly.
gonna use that. But
Exactly.
they're on 24/7.
Now, I can understand the fan running, and that's affecting our electric.
Mhm.
That's where we're getting the biggest impact. But
But those-
every
the
penny in that jar
The heat from those pilot lights is what's making that fan run.
So between
hot.
the gas and then the electricity, you
Yeah.
know, and you guys know more about that building's positives and negatives than we do.
And there's a lot of cold air that comes in around that one door in that kitchen than you can imagine.
Well,
These are the things we need to know.
and these things they're bringing up, Doug, can you address them with somebody to?
Well,
Um,
I think Duke and Midwest are
I was
offering
even-
to do an energy assessment of
Yeah.
facilities for free.
I was
I only do
even-
it residential, I don't think.
Well, I mentioned that 2 or 3 months ago. I wanted Doug to get with.
I just got a
Duke
card
and-
saying that they will do that. So they will go around and see where you can make changes like that. They would probably
they can-
address that issue of the burn.
that would be awesome if we could follow up with that. And as we were talking, or it was being spoke, we've got to look at ways to improve our side of this, just like you guys do. And by communicating, which is a wonderful thing, you may or may not have just been able to save enough money annualized to overcome what we were talking about raising the rent. And that's where I come from. I don't want to raise the rent out there, no more than we want to be in the red every month. But if we can work together, just like with your fundraisers, to find ways to cut the costs of keeping that building open to you, you guys have done more than your share. And just communicate with us, communicate with Doug, and say, this is another opportunity that we have here that we need to look at. Because those dollars count.
Well, you can stand there in the hallway and you can see out the back door. You can see cracks underneath those back doors too, where air's coming in.
And water comes in those.
Yeah, and water
Yeah,
comes
we
in
did all
those
that.
doors
And doors
sometimes.
have been a pain ever since they've been put in.
Yes, they have.
Well, let us take a look at those things as options.
Another thing I wanted to say about that stove is I've been worried about it being a fire issue because people rent that building and they've got papers laying there, and we'll go in there in the morning and there'll be papers laying on that counter right next to that stove with 6 pilot lights burning.
That's alarming to me.
That's been a fire issue
If
I've
they're not
felt
using
for
it,
years.
I would say, Doug, get the pot lights off, and Beth, when you rent the community center, can you ask them if they plan not to use the stove, then we can turn them on if they do? I mean, would that be?
yeah, we don't want
No more.
anybody turning them on themselves.
No.
I agree.
Manual light.
Well, I'd rather Doug or one of the guys do it. I don't want just anybody rent the
Yeah.
building. do it.
That would be more like
We ain't worried about it, though.
on the check sheet, checking in and checking out. That needs to go on the pre-opening building check sheet. And when I don't know who goes in and checks the building after it's been utilized to make sure that all the cleaning's been done, that needs to be on the list. Check
I
it
agree.
out.
I've been to several things over there, and everybody's always had big stuff brought in. So I don't think I've ever seen the stove used over there, to be
And
honest.
I don't think they ought to get their money back until they return the towels either. But that's just one of my gripes.
That's gonna happen.
Because I've seen Linda put Odon Community Center, the initials, on those towels and dishcloths that Beth had bought brand new last year. And then a lot of the towels and dishcloths were not brought back after some parties were put in there. And it wouldn't take any time at all for me or somebody else to check and make sure that the towels were washed and brought back. And wait a week and make sure they wash them and bring them back before you give them their deposit back.
Right.
Well, they
We can
shouldn't
do
have.
that, yeah.
You know, make sure they bring everything back that they used.
They surely don't have to wash the towels, take them home and wash them. They don't, that's not a requirement, is it?
Well, if they use them, why not? Make them
Well,
wash
they
them
may,
and bring them
but
back.
you may be from out of town. I mean, people rent the building.
Well, then let them leave them and I'll take them home and wash them.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
All right.
Okay, we can work that out, but, yeah, anything you can think of.
If they leave them there, I'll take them home and wash them. But make them leave them instead of taking them home and never bringing them back.
Yeah,
John, I'd be glad, I've worked with them before and tried to put together couple fundraisers a year would offset what you guys are talking about. You can make $2,000 at those fundraisers, and we've done it a couple times with them and been able to fill the place up. But in return, if we're gonna give some of the money to the town, then we shouldn't be charged, you know, whatever, $225, whatever it is. You get part of the money, they get part of the money, and, you know, split it so that you guys both.
I would rather, personally speaking, is if you raise funds for them, give them the money. Let them spend it how they want.
Well,
I don't want to own that.
Well, I'm saying for the town to help offset the expense that you guys are saying you're having. Okay, you get half, they get half, you're both making money. But that's up to you.
Well, I mean,
I don't
and
understand.
I guess from where I'm coming from on that, which I think it's a great thing for you to volunteer to do. I think it's awesome that you would do that. But my thing is, if I'm going to raise money for them, I want them to have it. And maybe this isn't your biggest budget crisis, you know, the rental of that building. Yeah, the town needs money too, don't get me wrong, but it just, that was just my perspective on it, that's all.
well, if we had a cushion of, that would tide over for some time to come, yeah, I think it's a great idea. How we allocate it, or, you know, I think that might be a lot up to you, if you're willing to do it. But certainly,
I'll talk to them.
it would take the edge off of both of what, but we still want to do these cost saving things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah.
But, you know, in hindsight, to what you said, at the last meeting, we had a large section of our meeting was surrounding like the monies that had been raised for park beautification and stuff like that. And we had come to the conclusion that we're going to try to keep all of those type funds completely separate from the town. In other words, if there's money raised for the lamps, light poles, or something like that, that goes into a fund that goes exclusively to that. And then I guess my quick answer to what you brought up had to do with the fact that we're going through the steps to try to keep those things separate so those funds don't get mixed up with anything else, so that if you do raise money under the pretense that it's going to go to them to help their cost on this, that's exactly what it goes to, instead of it accidentally getting put in the general fund and used for something else. I just want any volunteer that raises money for a specific purpose, I want to make sure that money goes to that specific purpose. And that's all I was saying. But I still think that your idea is genuine, and I think it's cool that you would.
We had a gentleman who offered to give $1,000. I don't know if he ever did or not. All he wanted was a plaque. He would donate it to the community building.
Really?
Didn't know about that.
I never heard that, but,
How long ago was that?
we're finding plaques for
Last
these,
year.
Was it?
plaques for these, light poles, that we sold for $1,000 are costing $300 to $400, and we're not making much money on it.
Well, he just wants a little plaque hung up.
No, we're open to that. But really appreciate any other input. If you think of something that needs to be looked at, you can leave a note with Beth, or I think that's the best way to handle it. Look into this, or it doesn't have to be proven. Just ask somebody to look into it and check it out. So, but it's a problem, and nobody likes to raise money, raise fees. keep from that, but I think Jim, up here, yeah, Wolford did all the settings on these, and, I'll talk to Jim about, apparently he did it where he thought it was most efficient, but I'd like to talk to him again